Hey everybody, it's day 19 of the Interesting Point of View Challenge. So one of the things that's really been popping up for me that I've been looking at is the connection between awareness and allowance, and how when we use interesting point of view, when we be interesting point of view, we get to a lot more allowance. And when you have more allowance, there's like this space in your world that allows for you to have awareness that you weren't willing to have before. The extent of awareness that we'll have is the extent of the awareness that matches the levels of allowance we have. And so a lot of times you may hear, or you may have said yourself, like, my awareness has exceeded my allowance. That's when we have like a big jump in awareness, and you need time for your allowance to catch up. And part of that is just because there's just a lot of things we don't want to be aware of. There's things that we don't want to know. Information we don't want to have about ourselves, about the world, about other people, about how people function. And the only reason that you wouldn't want to have that awareness about yourself, about somebody else, about the world, is because you don't have the allowance that would allow you to have the awareness with ease. Like if you have allowance for something, anything, then the awareness of it can come with ease. And what happens when we open up our allowance, because interesting point of view is really a tool for allowance, as we open up our allowance more, there's going to be tons more awareness that comes into your world. And one of the things that I'm noticing is I'm starting to have a lot more awareness about the people in my life and the nature of our relationships, and like how things work and how things have worked, and kind of the bases upon which my relationships have been created, and starting to see things that I haven't been willing to see before. And even in those moments, it's like part of it is because I have more allowance that I'm willing, like the awareness is coming. And then it also challenges me to have even more allowance, because then all of a sudden there's this awareness in your world that you used to not actually be willing to have, which is why you didn't have it before. And now there's more space, there's more of an invitation, there's more choice to have greater awareness. It comes, and then it's like, okay, now I actually have this awareness, and you don't actually have to do anything with it, which can be a huge relief, because a lot of times we think we have to do something with our awareness. You don't have to do anything with it. And yet, one of the things that's showing up for me is just levels of awareness and particular like pieces of awareness and information that are coming into my world that I didn't used to be willing to have, that are really, really changing my points of view, and that are really changing like my whole take on the world, and myself and all of my relationships. And that creates this moment where there's an adjustment required, like actually becoming a different person is a big part of what's showing up for me right now. Is like, it's time to actually become a different person, that is way more, and that's not to make that significant, but it's like where there's way more of all of this. There's way more allowance, there's way more space, there's way more having my own back, and not buying other people's stories about me, or their relationships with me, or their needs of me, or my needs of them that I thought I had. So it's like as we open up to much greater spaces with all of it, it's like more is going to come in, and then what are you going to do with it? Well, hopefully you keep going, keep being interesting point of view, keep using the tool, keep having greater awareness, and choosing things that you've never chosen before, because that is where the gold is.